Kerry is a great friend of mine. He's on my Band of Brothers call. He's on my accountability group, and he is awesome. He's got this huge practice in Minnesota. He's done it all right, and he gives a lot of the glory to what he's learned at DE. And he easily could be a fat cat and not do anything and just kind of live on the laurels, but instead he's growing his practice and getting re-engaged because of what he's heard at DE and is just all fired up. I'm gonna let him tell his story. So from Minnesota, let's welcome Kerry Johnson.
Am I going? Oh, okay. I guess I'm on. My thing says live in 251, but oh, that's how long we've been live. Anyways, hello, happy New Year. Thank you for inviting me to speak tonight. And I just want you to know I just just have such a new love for DE. My first DE was in 1983 as a second year student at Life in Atlanta. And honestly, I didn't have ears to hear back then. I got tripped up by the money hum, and I remember there was a lot of brass speakers. I was a Midwestern boy, and I hadn't gotten to know the big hearts of my colleagues and friends out east, and so it was foreign to me, and I couldn't understand the language, and so I walked away from that first DE experience. I said, no, this isn't for me. And of course, I went to Life, big philosophy school, and I didn't get that either. I didn't understand Dr. Sid and dropping his keys, 2, 3 times a month. The philosophy course were taught by the Rabins, and again they were from New York and spoke a different language than me. And I guess I remember Bob Rabin, the dad, had dark suits and bright white tennis shoes, and I guess I just couldn't get past the white tennis shoes with a suit or something. I don't know, but so I didn't connect up with the chiropractic principle, and it didn't change my paradigm. My paradigm was I had a bad back. I saw a chiropractor, and it helped. My dad had a lifetime of bad backs, and the chiropractor helped him every 2, 3 years when he was laying on the floor and couldn't walk. Of course, around the same time, my lower back pain became totally unrelenting, and I couldn't sit in a desk. Most afternoons, I'm taking notes from the back class standing, or sometimes even laying. And a doctor, after trying many doctors and many techniques, an upper cervical doctor by the name of Hugh Crow, healed my lower back overnight with a little tiny correction that I didn't even feel. And it did rock my chiropractic world, but it was really only in the sense that, oh, this was a great way to help back pain. So I got into practice, moved back up. My wife was 4 months pregnant when I graduated. I would love to have stayed there. We moved back to Minnesota and opened up an office and did a lot of dumb things and starved for 3 years and, bullheaded, but scratched, clawed, made it. But I just didn't really understand what chiropractic was. 3 years into my practice, a big shift happened when our children's daycare provider came in. Her name was Mary Kay. And I noticed she didn't have anything on the complaint where you write down where your pain and your complaint was on the intake form. She had left it blank. And so when she sits down in the console for me, I said, hey, what's up? How can I help you? I said, where do you hurt? She said, I don't hurt. I thought that was strange. In my head, I'm like, well, why are you here? But then she proceeded to say, in the 2.5 years that your kids have been in our daycare, they're the only two kids that are never sick. And that was 2.5 years they were there, and it was 60 kids in the daycare. It was a large daycare preschool, and this lady, the owner, noticed that with our kids, and I guess I just took it for granted. And I know that there was this light bulb that went off in my head that, I understood a little bit more about what the keys were, what Sid was talking about, and what chiropractic really was. So slowly grew my practice, became successful, got some help on the management side. And I would say my top year, I think I saw 307 patients in a week, which for, NUCA doctors, pretty busy. We can have a slow procedure. And I became a mastered NUCA, became board certified. And for me, success in practice was getting patients corrected, getting them to hold their adjustment, and then get them out the back door so I could see the next patient. And so my practice just became a 30-some year revolving door. And then it became a revolving door for associates as well, as I endeavored to bring in another doctor in my practice. And that's a whole nother story. But I guess through a lot of help, classes, the good Lord putting me with the right people in the right places, slowly but surely, we kind of have figured out a thing or two about associates. A lot we're still beta testing, but so we currently have 4 doctors in our office, and we just actually just hiring a 5th one. Hi, Sarah, if you're on, and we're so excited to have her part of our team. But really, I became a fat cat. My volume I lowered down to, like, I think I was seeing 150 a week probably for the last half a dozen years. I tell people I had a high demand and a low volume practice, or low capacity practice. And so, we charged pretty high fee. My PVA was about 70, on 150 visits a week. So it was pretty good. I didn't have to work real hard, made pretty good money. And then 3 years ago, this April, Joe Parpala, Dr. Joe, hi Joe, I hope you're on. He said, Kerry, you got to go to DE. And I'm like, DE, I did that a long time ago when I was in school. And, but I love Joe, and I trust the things that he says. And so I went to Sarasota, and the very first speaker was Dee Umber. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, Dee Umber, are you still around? He was, vice president at Life when I was there, at that time, 32 years ago. And he was the first speaker on Friday morning. And I remember just sitting there almost awestruck. I'm like, yeah, everything he's saying, I'm like, yeah, right on, preach it, speak it. I was just, I had realized, like, wait a minute, like, I kind of got the DE thing and the chiropractic principle through osmosis and through my practice over the years. But the one thing that he said, and it rings true, we have an obligation to make ourselves known in our community because people just need this. And that just stuck with me. I can't even describe what that weekend felt like, except that I felt like I was home. I was like, I know you talked about like the band of brothers in DE. Man, I felt like I was home with brothers and sisters. And so I've been to, I think, 4 of them since. And I remember the last DE in October, one of the doctors said, hey, you got to go for 6 years before it really sinks in and you get the full meal deal. So I guess I got 3 more years. And so, but I was just telling Andy this on our call the last time. This last DE in October, gosh, something just happened to me. And I just want to say, I've been a believer for, I don't know, the last 20 some years. And I can sense when there's an anointing, the presence of God on something. And this October, there was an anointing that was on that weekend and on the speakers. And it was an anointing of love. That's the best way that I can say it. And I know that there was a couple of other people that mentioned that too, that are sensitive to the Spirit. Even Steve Judson, Mr. Powerhouse, and in your face, and go get them and take no prisoners. Like, there was just this anointing on him. His heart was just filled with love, and and then once again, Dee Umber just he rocked it, because he wasn't the first speaker, but he was the last speaker on Friday night, and it was 9:30. And he kind of slowly walks up there, and he's like, "Guys, I was supposed to be in bed. My bedtime's an hour and a half ago." He's like, "I'm probably not going to give you a whole bunch tonight." But honestly, as he got going, um, like, he just lit it up. Like, as he got going and speaking about what he is passionate about and what he lives for, he just lit up like he was so on fire, and that just so spoke to me. The other thing that spoke to me is that him and his wife sit at, and he's, mid upper 80s, and they sit there the whole weekend and don't even miss a speaker, and that just so impressed me. And a lot of speakers also talked about brain chatter that weekend. I don't know if you got together and decided what to talk about, but what are you letting in your head? And I came home with a commitment to read Philippians 4:8. Go look it up every day. I read Psalm 91 and Philippians. Actually, I think it was 4 through 8. I read every day in my quiet time in the morning, and I came home with a new fire in my belly. I've been in practice now. I'm just starting 35 years, and 4 weeks before Christmas, um, I said, you know what? I can help more people. I can see more people. I got into my room with my CA, and I said, time my visits for me. I want to see, like, how efficient I am. How much time am I wasting? I'm going to focus this afternoon on really, like, being present with the patient, getting the correction. And I realized, like, I was wasting a minute and a half per visit. So I'm like, okay, I just reworked my schedule, and I set a goal 4 weeks before Christmas to see 200 patient visits in a week. And I was at 150. So that means that in 4 weeks, a patient visit increase of 50. And I was like, you know what? I'm probably nuts. Well, I know I'm nuts. If you get to know me really close, you know I'm nuts. But anyways, I gave it to God. So, God, this is in your hand. I put my love on. I put my focus on. I had weekly calls with Dr. Joe and Andy, and they even remember one week they were talking about putting your love on before you walk in the office. Like, Dr. Joel, he'll listen to worship music for a half an hour before he goes into his clinic. Andy is just like, I won't walk into my office unless I have my love on. And I don't know. I just put my love and focus on that month, and I had a remarkable month. I was in love with my team, my patients, practice. I mean, there were some things that came up, and I was like, nope, it's not getting in my head. I'm just gonna love and use the gift that God has given me to bring healing to people. And the week before Christmas, I saw 237 patients. And honestly, I would have been at 260, except for the day before Christmas, our last day before we were closing for the Christmas break. We had a snowstorm that just wiped out our afternoon. And so I probably lost, I don't know, 25 patients or something that afternoon, maybe 30. Anyways, that's really all that I had to say. I'm so grateful for DE. I just can't even believe 35 years in practice, and I've got a new fire in my belly, and it's rubbing off on our other doctors. We've reached our clinic goal, even in a COVID year. We reached a clinic goal that we set back in January for our clinic. And so we're just thankful. I'm thankful for every doc in our clinic. I'm thankful for the Lord, and I'm thankful for DE. Andy, and I love you, brother. Thank you. So that's all I have. Happy New Year.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, think about this. In 1 month, you, after 35 years of practice, in 1 month, you bumped it up 44%. Think
It was
about that,
nuts.
dude. That's amazing. That is amazing. And everybody out
Yes.
there in DE land, man, that's what happens when you get inspired, right? I mean, just totally
Yes.
inspired. That's
Yes.
awesome. That. Let me ask you. I'm going to pick on you a little bit, and hopefully we didn't we didn't practice this, so I hope it's okay to say this. You won 2 or 3 gifts at the raffle, right? You had 2 or 3 gifts
Yeah.
at the raffle, right?
And one of them's in my ear.
Tell the people how many tickets you bought. How much money in tickets you bought?
I don't know. We wanted to help students get there, so I don't know. I think I spent $400 or something like that
I
for
think
so
you told
students
me it's
could.
500.
Was it 500? Okay,
I
yeah.
think it was
So
500.
students,
Yeah. So
yeah,
success leaves
students could
clues,
get.
everybody. You give, you
and
receive, right?
and just this last weekend, I talked to a doctor who's been in practice for quite a long time, successful. He does upper cervical in Tennessee, and he called me because he's burned out. And I said, "Well, my friend, I got the antidote for you." So I hope that we'll see him at DE in Atlanta.
I hope so too. I hope everybody out there realizes that the gift that we have, and like I said, every time you go to DE, there's somebody that may never be up on that stage, but there are people like you that just rocking it, and just it's not really from the stage. It's the vibration in the room and the love, like you said, inspired. I mean, everybody was inspired, you can't recreate that. It's amazing.
No, no. It was
Yeah.
really, I mean, it was really powerful in October. What there was, I mean, there was just a presence there. But maybe it was
And,
just me getting it through my thick skull. Maybe it's always been there. I don't know.
and like you said, well, maybe they all got together and said, "This is what we're going to talk about." I know because I'm on that side. Nobody's told what to say. It's all it comes together. It's
Yeah, yeah.
synchronicity. It's amazing. Yeah. Hey, I want to thank you for doing this. Also, I forgot before we opened. DE is January 21st to 24th. There is a hotel change, so make sure you look. It's at the Waverly, the Renaissance Waverly Hotel. I know the rooms are starting to book up pretty fast. People, if you've not been to DE in a while, sign up, get there. That love is palpable, and I promise you, there's a lot of people like Kerry who are freaking rocking it through a pandemic. So, Kerry, thanks for opening it up and doing this and sharing. I so much appreciate you and love you. And good night, everybody.
Thanks, Andy. God
Love
bless
you,
you
man.
guys.